Welcome to Maggie and the Moms, where we celebrate but never sugarcoat parenting. How do you feel about teens drinking alcohol at home? We're tackling that question first today with our panel, Ciji Castro, a recipe creator, aka the domestic gourmet, and a mother of three. Kiva Williams, mother of three as well, and the founder of Mahogany Kids, which brings the arts to minority children, and Laura Byrne, mother of two, and the editor of Tampa Bay Parenting Magazine. Can I just say how well we coordinate today?
I know.
Yes.
We didn't even plan it like you were
No,
saying. It just kind of
happened.
We're very
on the
festive.
same wavelength.
Yes, we are. It's that holiday feel.
Yes.
All right, a lot of people drink during the holidays at family parties. Would you be okay with your teenagers taking part? This is a headline from HuffPost article last week. Should parents let teens drink alcohol as long as it's under their roof? Experts weigh in. And what the experts say is absolutely not. But there are a lot of reasons why a lot of parents do allow this. Where are you on this, Laura?
Oh gosh, mine are still young, so that's kind of tough. My husband, we're a big wine family. He just for fun got his sommelier level 1. Would love going for level 2 next.
Oh wow.
And so it's like, we've talked about this. What will we do as they get older? And maybe like a small sip to taste wine, but I'm not talking about like the vodkas and the beer and stuff like that, but just to maybe enjoy the flavor. But I also don't want them to know that I'm say it's okay, that this is an okay behavior that you should do. You really need to abide by the law, which means you need to be 21 years old to drink.
What say you?
I'm with the experts. Maybe I'm gonna call myself an old school parent, but I feel like allowing your kids to drink in your home, it sets a precedent that you're okay with it. And I think that as a parent, you're supposed to be guiding them and letting them know that, hey, alcohol is something that you enjoy as an adult. It can have, monumental disasters if you are doing it excessively. So I feel like maybe I'm calling myself a helicopter mom, but I don't think I would allow that. I would let them know that, hey, when you're of age and it's appropriate, we can talk about it. But now, no.
There are so many reasons why people do justify it, though. So let me just play devil's advocate here, and you can weigh in on this. They're going to do it anyway, so I would prefer that they do it under my roof. If I prohibit it so much, when they're finally allowed, they're going to go crazy. Those arguments.
That's true. I mean, my mother's Cuban, so everything was prohibited growing up.
Trust me, I know.
But it's a slippery slope, because being Cuban, sangria was a big part of growing up, and from being a little toddler, we were allowed to eat the fruit out of the sangria. So it's like we were consuming alcohol, but I don't know. It was just normal. It's what we did. However, I have seen where it's like you're allowed to drink it at home, you're around family, this is a safe environment, and now there's a problem now that they're older. So, for me, I'm trying to take a little bit more of like a new American approach where I'm like, you can come to me, you can talk to me. I am not the scary, dictator.
Yeah, right.
So,
Well, what you say is exactly what the experts say, that there are people who have allowed it and then realized later that there were consequences. So this was studied by the author of the book, The Addiction Inoculation, right? And so this is what the research says. If kids start drinking, if they have their first drink, I should say, if they have their first drink in 8th grade, their lifelong risk of developing substance abuse problems goes up by 50%. And then if they wait till 10th grade, that drops by half. If they wait till they're 18, that drops by another 2 years. So the research shows that it pays to wait. I think that you should, tell them you have to follow the law. It's 21, but I've let my kids have sips of wine. You want to know what this tastes like? Go ahead at a restaurant, have a sip.
There's a savor the flavor, but it's just,
but
again, not like
drink,
not like that.
I'm not
like
about
to taste
that.
Or like a finger.
And I grew up in a Cuban household too, and I was allowed to drink all the cafe that I wanted, all the coffee, which is technically bad too, but alcohol, even my,
We were allowed to have champagne on New Year's.
Well, we had sidra, we had, cider, which we
My
felt
mom
like was
lived
champagne.
in Spain as a kid, and she talked about drinking wine as a very young child in Spain. So it's kind of like, oh my gosh,
And I lived in Germany for 8 years as a kid, and wine was a big part of their culture. So that's kind of different, though.
Well, also the drinking age is much lower internationally in some countries. I just think also if what you model is what they're going to do.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
If you're the parent who gets drunk all the time and then God forbid drives or something like that, that's what they see growing up, and this is for everything. That's what they're going to
think is okay.
I think. All right, we're going to spin the wheel, ladies, and see what comes up first in our Wheel of Mom topics. First up today, we have Do you agree? All right, this is something we saw on the Today Show where a woman was saying that you absolutely should not compare your siblings to each other. We all have multiple siblings. Are you guilty of this? Do you do it?
Sometimes.
Mother of 3?
I know. Sometimes, yes,
And you
I do.
have 3 girls.
I do. So it's
So when
a
you compare, it's
struggle.
much more apples to apples than, say, comparing a boy to a
It
girl,
is,
maybe.
but it's not. Like, my kids are completely different.
Yeah.
You know, my first one is my mini-me. She's meticulous. She's clean. She listens. She's a good girl. My second one, true to the second child, is the tiny tornado. The third is the hurricane.
The hurricane is always the youngest.
So I'm guilty of it, but it's a work in progress. I'm cognizant of it.
How do you compare? Like, do you say, you should be more like so-and-so?
Yeah, like, oh, I wish, or listen, or, I don't know. Look, Camila's in the dress. Oh,
Right.
Christmas recital, okay? The dress situation was such a nightmare. My oldest hated it. My youngest wore it. But it's like we're walking out the door. It's like, look, she's wearing it. She likes it. She looks beautiful. You look beautiful,
Yeah, I think that is perfectly fine, in my humble opinion. You do what you got to do sometimes to get your kids out the door.
Yeah.
And if that
Yeah.
works and it's not going to crush them or they're, in the long run, who
Yeah.
cares?
It depends on the child, though, because my oldest is super sensitive. So I know that, if I compare him to the other siblings, he's going to take that so painfully. So each child is different, and I know with him, got to tread lightly because I have to find different examples to try to get him to do things, because comparing him to the other child, like Noah's doing it, doesn't work, because then he'll take that and means that you favor Noah over me.
Gosh,
and
that's such a good point,
Yeah.
though. You have to know how your kids are going to take it.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's one thing that surprised me after becoming a parent, and as the kids get older and develop these personalities, and you've said it too, how different they are. Yeah. And to me, I was like, oh, we're same household, same food, same everything, right? They're going to be very similar and the same, but it's just amazing how siblings in the same household can
With
be
the same
so vastly
parents.
different. And it can be hard not to compare because they are so different. But, just making sure we're being, sensitive to not making the child feel bad because they're not doing something maybe as well as their sibling.
We do it all the time.
So it's hard not to.
We do. Because I tell my son, you should be more like your sister in this way, and I tell her, you should be more like him in this way.
How do they respond?
Fine, except my son is convinced that she's our favorite child, which is not true.
Yeah, I hear that.
But I
like
also think
JR
he
more.
says
You
that
like
to
Johnny
get
more.
sympathy.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yes.
nice try. You
Yeah.
know we don't have a favorite child.
Exactly.
I mean, but we do this. Like sometimes at restaurants, when they were younger, especially, we're like, okay, both of you, can we do a drawing contest? Both of you draw a car, and we don't know who drew which, and we have to say which one is better, and we do.
Yeah.
And I know who did which one because you just know how your kids draw. But we do that all the time.
Yeah.
And they took it fine. Like, I don't know. I guess it's knowing how your kids are going to take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
They
my
didn't take it as
oldest
a
would not.
personal offense.
I mean, parents have been doing it forever,
Yeah,
as
my
long as
parents did
there
to
have been
me.
parents, right? Because
Right.
my parents definitely did it with my brother and
Exactly.
sister. It's just kind of comes with the territory.
And as
of-
long as you're not constantly making
Yeah.
one the better one,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
if you're doing it maybe equally, I think that's maybe okay. All right, we're going to spin again. I don't know. We're not experts. We're just doing this like everybody else.
Yeah, we're
Best we
just winging
can.
it. 100%.
I don't know. Are you guilty? All right, this was one where somebody was saying the people who don't have kids were saying the most annoying things that parents do. So are you guilty of some of these things? What is the most annoying thing that you, Kiva, as a parent do, in your opinion, either to your kids or in front of people who don't have kids?
Well, in front of people who don't have kids, talking about your kids apparently is it's like annoying because you're constantly talking about a subject that they're not familiar with. So I am guilty of that because I'm a mom of 3. So of course my kids are a big part of my life. So me mentioning them, constantly is kind of a no-no.
You think you do it?
I'm sure I'm guilty of it. Yeah, I would have to say yes. I'm gonna work on it though.
Okay.
I'm a work in progress.
There you go. What are you guilty of?
I don't know. Like, I thought really hard on this, and I just feel like maybe I'm not self-aware. If, I'm guilty of annoying my kids
Yeah,
with
me
nagging.
too.
But I was reading the list of letting your kids run and scream in public areas, and it's like it happens, but I do my best to contain it. Or letting your kids kick an airplane seat, I don't. I mean,
Yeah.
they're
Try to
going
stop it.
to.
Right. You
Right.
tell
They're
them
going
no.
to.
But as long as you nip it in the bud.
I nip it. I think at the end of the day, like moms, we're just doing the best we can, and there's no guidebook. We're all winging it, and
Yeah.
Cut us some slack.
I know. That's so true.
Yeah, but there are moms who allow their kids to do things because they're oblivious to other people. Like one of the other examples was they let their kids play the handheld video games with the
Loudly.
volume on.
Yeah.
There's
Super
no
loud.
excuse for that. That's
Yeah.
not something kids are going to do. If you tell them stop it, that's not allowed.
down, right.
So you
Yeah.
have to be aware of your surroundings
Yeah.
and have some rules in place.
Especially if you're at dinner and you're trying to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't wanna hear
I'm
someone
aware of
else's
other,
video
you know,
Yeah,
you're at
what
the
if-
table, so.
What about you? Did you come up with anything?
You know, there was something in the article about the baby talk.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, I say potty a lot by accident, and you know this from the outside organizations that we're a part of. When I often have to take photos, and I was like, "See, cheese," and and I'm like, "I am so sorry. You are a grown woman or a grown man, and I am telling you to like say." It's just because it's so.
It's easier.
I know.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't know. I have so many that I do.
Yeah.
Well, one of the ones from the article that got me is like never say in front of somebody who doesn't have children, "My life didn't have meaning," or I didn't know true love till I had kids. And that one, I'm like, I wonder if I've ever said that, just because I mean
Yeah.
I feel that way, but
Yeah.
I don't mean to offend
Yeah.
anybody else
Yeah.
or. But I think I annoy my kids all the time. Just yesterday, I was taking my son to a party, and I'm like, "Be sure you talk to the girls. Don't stand in a corner with the boys. Be sure you do this. Be sure you do." He goes, "I miss Dad."
Like, okay, Mom.
So I don't think we have time for one more topic. Whit, how much time do we have? 30 seconds. We're going to have to cut it short. But thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
And Ciji's going to stick around, so you ladies might want to stick around as well, because she's going to share a recipe for coquito. And if you don't know what that is, you are missing out on a very delicious holiday treat. Daytime, we'll be right back.